So new public governance is especially due to emergence of so many networks. There are several networks, agencies, groups, associations at multi-level, and it is not only about structure. Network governance is about structure. It talks about how there is change in structure. So that way you can see new public service is about shifting of values from market to democracy, and other things can be taken, but largely two aspects you can take. So if you take network governance, it talks about structure, how there is change in structure of governance and formation of different types of networks, which can be part of new public governance. NPS is kind of reshifting of values, but public governance is about, it is more holistic. Holistic in the sense that it represents post-NPM trend, that when there are different types of institutions, networks, groups at multi-level, it is not only related to public, it is also about private, like say contract governance. So then how we can govern those multiple structures? So we have to focus on different segments. Like say within government there is formation of various types of networks for effective implementation. So that's why it focuses on, if you say socio-political or public policy. Even in the field of public policy, so there is no one such player. Today we have multiple players, and public policy demands also a sort of governance. You can take the stakeholders, like say even farm bills, and how farm bills and rejection of farm bills by association means groups, civil society organizations. There are international civil society organizations which give lots of report, and there can be also vested interest in this. So many indices are published, and those indices influence policy of the government, and those policy of the government may not necessarily be based on fact, rather there can be also vested interest. So even in public policy field, government has to govern, means everything is getting converted into governance, in which there is one common aspect, that is called collaboration. So that's why it is also considered as collaborative governance. So new public governance, another name is called collaborative governance. Collaborative governance indicates multi-level governance, means you can take at local, union, state, local, and let's say that at diagonal level you can take internal and external, so internal aspect, external aspect. So new public governance indicates the volume of collaboration and cooperation which are needed between different networks. And if we do not govern, let's say that those different networks, so then we will not be able to govern effectively, or we will not be able to deliver. Its public service delivery demands today governance of those networks, be it public or private, like say contract governance. The contract governance can be one such, let's say, because hundreds of contracts we have. So when we have hundreds of contracts, so how can we enforce contract? The contract governance means the government should bring some frameworks related to contracts, and then how we can enforce those contracts, or especially implementation of public-private partnerships. Simply signing that contract will not result into contract enforcement. And you know when contracts have not been enforced, what are the consequences? We know it better. So that way we can understand this new public governance. That's why it is considered that it is more broader than any other post-NPM model, or it subsumes all, let's say, post-NPM models. Let's say that some elements of all models it will subsume, be it whole of the government approach, public service approach, or network governance, or new public service. Lots of research have been done related to new public governance in different countries, be it UK or US or New Zealand, Australia. So hundreds of research you will find. Means there is an increase in number of research related to application of new public governance, or how, let's say that different countries have implemented the characteristics of new public governance. Hence, it is still not also emerged, let's say, paradigm or theory. It is under formulation. In fact, those who have given Stephen Osborne's in the outset itself, they say that it is not that they are trying to formulate any such ideal model, or their aim is to give any such theory. Rather, it is just perspective. It is a perspective which they are trying to explain in terms of how there are formation of different groups and different networks, and then how we can bring them under collaboration, cooperation, so that there is effective service delivery. So even they are also not of view that they are going to formulate theories. It is under construction. It is still under emergence. That's why let's say that beyond that you cannot tell much about them. Whatever the post NPM models we are talking, beyond few of their characteristics, we cannot tell much about this, because we cannot talk those, let's say that facts related to how many research have been conducted, where research were conducted, and what were the findings of the research. So those things are not needed to tell. Rather, let's say that as far as examination is concerned, you should know some characteristics and some differences from new public management, and that will serve the purpose, because they are still in the process of development. Right. In fact, let's say that every year I try to read them whenever, let's say that we go through this, and I try to find some new things, but we end up like not more than that telling, because the concrete aspect you don't mean something which you can tell. You can tell only which are objectives. You cannot tell merely set of views and opinions. So we do not find that there are further developments or there is any such defining theoretical phenomenon that you can know about them. So, although yes, this time I have dealt better than past, the way we dealt, because past time I had leg burn, I was not able to focus much on that. So we just took 2-3 classes. But this time we have covered comprehensively on them. So let's write further on that. Due to its characteristics and above components, due to its characteristics and above components, right, it becomes a very comprehensive, also a sort of all-encompassing type of emerging paradigm. It has following differences. With old public administration and new public management. You can write 3 columns. Old public administration, new public management, new public governance. And 4th column is about dimensions. Means first you should write dimensions, then old public administration, new public dimension you can write in the end also, it does not matter. Reverse, it can be reverse also, isn't it? Dimension you write first theoretical roots. In old public administration, political science and public policy. In new public management. public choice theory, public choice theory and management studies. Public choice theory and management studies. New public governance, institutional and network theory. Institutional and network theory. Next, nature of state. Nature of state. Unitary in old. Unitary in old. Next, regulatory in management. Next, plural and pluralist in governance. Plural and pluralist.
So what are institutional theories, sir?
Institutional and network theory is related to the network formation. Next, focus. Means you should take in that way that it is not located in a either public setting or private. Institutional is something neutral. This, so it can be any institution where you can have formation of network and collaboration, public or private. But in case of traditional, it is more about public policy or political science, and it was management science that way. Next, focus. Political system, organization, political system in case of public administration, in case of NPM, organization, in case of new public governance, organization and its environment. Organization and its environment. Next, emphasis. Emphasis. Policy implementation. Policy implementation. Next, result orientation, performance. Result orientation, performance. Next, governance in governance, negotiation of values, meaning and relationships. Negotiations of values, meaning and relationship. Next, resource allocation mechanism. Next dimension. Resource allocation mechanism. Resource allocation mechanism. In traditional public administration, hierarchy. Hierarchy. In new public management, the market and contract. The market and contract. In new public governance, networks. Networks. Next dimension, value base. Value base. In public administration, you write public sector ethos. Public sector ethos. This side, efficiency and competition. Efficiency and competition. And this side, dispersed and contested. Dispersed and contested. In bracket you can write democratic governance. Democratic governance. So this can be another specific set of points you can write about comparison when we talk about new public governance, new public management. Right. Let's write weaknesses. It is also an emerging paradigm. Which lacks theorization, and also recognition. Next, it is very comprehensive. And hence it lacks its distinctive characteristics, except collaborative governance. There are research and studies related to new public governance, but they have not been able to further advance Stephen Osborne model beyond a set of characteristics. And there is lack of consensus on components of public governance and how it is different from other post-NPM models. Relevance. However, all post-NPM models are emerging models. They represent the new realities. In public administration, which have been created due to extreme level of diversity and development in post-globalization era. Diversity and development in post-globalization era. The new public governance, although incorporates characteristics of other post-NPM models, but at the same time, its emphasis is more on collaboration, multi-level governance, democratic governance for effective public service delivery. It, unlike public service, new public service, unlike new public service, which resets democratic values, which resets relevance of democratic values. The network governance,
Democratic value.
comma, network governance, which is about emerging structure under governance and e-governance. New public governance goes beyond both. And it focuses on different sectors. It focuses on governance of different sectors. Through collaborative approach. Like how government can with multiple structures at multiple levels can collaborate for effective public service delivery. So that way we can finish. No. Contested means it depends on, let's say that in different situations there can be different values. Means we cannot have one clearly defined value. So for contract enforcement there can be different value. For public policy sector it can be different one. For administrative governance there can be different. So different context, different situations, since it is talking about pluralism as a pluralistic state. Right? The pluralistic state rather than unitary state. The pluralistic means there are multiple values, multiple stakeholders, multiple values. So it means multiple values means we cannot have one defining values. That is what it means.
Sir, also negotiation of values, meaning and relationship.
Yes, negotiations of values, you can see that how today you have deliberative democracy, or if you remember we told assertive political culture. So when there is assertive political culture, so people will bargain, people will negotiate. This way we can say. So there will be more dialogue, negotiations, assertion. It is representing those aspects due to creation of multiple groups and associations.
Welcome to LUKMAAN IAS. Study General Studies with LUKMAAN IAS for building comprehensive knowledge. GS paper 2 and 4 will be taken by S. Ansari and other papers will be covered by renowned faculties. Live classes are as effective as offline classes. The classes are highly interactive in nature. Your doubts and queries will be addressed and there will be dictation of notes. In the last 10 years, LUKMAAN IAS has set up a niche in the field of UPSC guidance.